He's all that right hand on top.
I was literally about to say
For
that.
Kennedy. But hey, welcome. We are coming to you from Stillwater, and we're here doing a working weekend, and we're chatting, and it was like, hey, may as well do a VPSA chat while we're here and talk about leadership stuff and reflection. Really mainly reflection. We've been having some really good conversations and wanted to record some of them so that way you guys could see that we are people and that we hang out and talk about stuff. So that's what we're doing. You guys want to introduce yourselves in case people don't know?
I guess I'll start. Hello, friends. My name's Nick Rorrer. I use he/him pronouns. I currently serve as the fraternity's national president. I originally hail from the Eta Beta chapter at Virginia Tech. Go Hokies.
Mark Renault, Vice President of Membership and Expansion, life member of the Zeta Epsilon chapter at Michigan State University. Go Green.
Go White.
My name is Arupa Gopal-Campbell. I use she/her pronouns, and I'm a life member from the Kappa chapter at the University of South Florida. Go Bulls.
The Bulls. And I'm your host, JP Davis, your VPSA, life member Zeta Chi at the University of South Carolina. Go Cox. So, kind of speaking about today's students, thinking about today's students in an idea of reflection, I'm curious, is there anything that you think our active members, our students, do better than when we were active members at our various times?
For me, it would be mental health considerations.
Yes.
I do think that students today are very much more aware of the mental load that it takes to be a student, to have your family, to have your work life, plus fraternity life. It's a lot of things that a student can be interacting with on a day-to-day basis. And they are trying to stay a little bit more aware of how that affects their own and everyone else around them in terms of their mental health space, and sort of keeping that in mind to make sure that folks don't get quite as burnt out. I don't think when I was a student, people thought about it much until and unless someone ended up in a really bad spot. So that's been very inspiring for me to see that.
Yeah, I think it went from reactive brotherhood to proactive brotherhood and people caring for each other.
That's right.
I think that's a really good one.
I think building off that and maybe the reactive and proactive, especially with the second part of what I'm about to say, is like, to me, it's intentionality, right? So I think caring about your mental health is very intentional and whatnot, but there's this intentionality that we also question tradition. Like, I think tradition can be fun, and like I love some of the traditions that Virginia Tech has, that my home chapter has, or chapters all across the country have. But when I think about like intentionality, like I think about what our district councils are doing with their district conventions. They're being very intentional on how can I deliver the best experience? What do my fellow brothers want from that experience? And I think we're just looking all across the board. Like, I mean, for me, when I was active, like my chapter, we ran band camp, we ran honor band, like we knew what we did because this is what we've always done since like the chapter was founded. But I think like, and it's also inspiring to see how innovative our students are, but they're always intentional of how can I best serve college bands versus kind of doing the same thing over and over again, right? So, yeah,
I'm really curious to see how that shapes in the long term for Kappa Kappa Psi, as you know, when it gets to 200, how different does a fraternity look, especially with like our students and like just the way they view the world.
Well, even building off that, like I think like we're still involved in the fraternity because like we love this organization so much, but because we also get to learn from our awesome college students, right? Like I think something maybe our students need here is we learn from them as much as hopefully they learn one thing or two from us, but we learn so much from them. And I think as an organization, you've seen that shift because they are the ones who are elect, you know, all four of us at that table. And so like if we weren't trying to reflect our students' values, we wouldn't be doing our job. But like we've all got elected because I think we do a good job of doing that. And I think as a fraternity, we've become more intentional because our students have become more intentional.
Yeah.
And the leadership in that, right? It builds in us. I mean, there's so much more. You look at the four of us, one of us has a daily interaction with music. And band, right? Like there's so much, and I don't know if this is on your list for later, JP, but there's so much that we build in people and ourselves and then it's cool to continue to grow and develop, as Nick said, and learn from each other, and then try to pour that into other people to give them those similar experiences. It's always fun to see, I was a governor for a while, see someone as a governor, and then now someone who's a student on one of my council is serving as a governor and leading and mentoring and all those things. So it's really cool to see that evolution, that growth, and that development.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, on the other side, what sort of things do you think students are dealing with today, like in their chapters or lives? I mean, really probably more Kappa Psi stuff that is the same from when we were students. Like this has just kind of been, the same for the last X years.
We don't know how to say no.
Yeah.
It's the same. Like we all are, I want to do that. I want to help there. I want to do these things.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not just in marching band. I'm not just inside. I volunteer here. I go do that. I think we have a hard time saying no.
Yeah, it's that proactive go-getter thing. And especially for chapters that meet with their band directors, and the band directors are like, hey, here are all the things that we need help with. They say, yes, we're going to help with all of that. Instead of being like, oh, maybe we can be more controlled about what's possible for us. They want to just, if you need help, we're going to do it.
Doesn't matter if the chapter went from 10 to 20,
right.
back down to 10. They're like, yeah, we can pull off what 20 people did. We got that.
Right.
That's right.
And it's and going back to what Arupa was saying, I think we're getting better at it. I think we're aware of that mental health strain and just kind of the demands we're putting on ourselves. But there's a reason that workshop existed 20 years ago, and it's going to probably exist in the next 10 years too, because we don't say no.
Maybe on a different angle of this, but still the same. I think about this just like our interactions on council when we disagree. Like I don't think we disagree much. We have very robust discussions. But even our interactions with other members of our national leadership team or across the organizations or across the aisle to Tau Beta Sigma, we care so much. Like we will get into debates so we're having a working weekend, and for those online, we just had this whole talk about like getting into the nitty gritty of like finances, like the difference between 3 cents, which we're hoping we're being good financial stewards of the organization. Shout out. But we care so much, and sometimes it's hard when people care so much and you do something slightly differently than other people would have done it. Like it leads to conflict, and conflict's natural, and like I do think we should learn to disagree more. Mark and I often say, and I said the same thing among, like, I'm sick of agreeing with you, we need to disagree and have some discourse. But at the same time, like when we do find kind of some of those areas of discourse, things can get so hard because we just care so much. So like it's one of the most beautiful things about this organization, how much we care. And like I will always say, my favorite thing about Kappa Psi is we are greater than the sum of our parts because we are more than one person. But man, do we care, and man, can that cause issues. And along the lines of perpetual workshops, conflict resolution, conflict management is going to be one.
And we care about the things we're doing, and we also care about the people we're doing it with. So we're passionate about what we're doing, but I also don't want to hurt your feelings, and I don't want to make you upset. So
and it's that whole thing of once you get a bunch of leaders all in the same room together, some interesting stuff tends to happen, and that is true back when I was active all the way through now.
Yeah, I remember I was visiting Zeta Chi just to talk with them. They were doing like this neat like alumni series sort of deal, and so they would have alumni come back and just kind of talk about their life and everything. And they asked me some questions like, what sort of issues did you guys deal with? And I said some, and they're like, oh yeah, we are kind of dealing with some of that now. Or they would share something like, I remember going through that when I was you guys' age. But it's interesting how those problems like will always continue, maybe just because young adults are young adults at the end of the day. So thinking about more like where you are now with fraternity, like yes, we're here on the National Council and we have our responsibilities within the organization. How do you guys, and I'm kind of asking this for myself as well, how do you guys balance your responsibilities with frat, like your not frat, I should say, but like your frat responsibilities with your day job and your life and your families?
with support.
Yes.
I try really hard, but again, I care a lot, so sometimes the balance isn't where I want it to be. But, you know, I'm married, I lean on my husband a lot. I try to make sure that I'm communicating when things are going to be busier, like this weekend, and when I might need some more time, or we might need to pick things up in a different way than usual. And then in my workplace, I'm fortunate in that they are very supportive. I took 2 days off of work this past week so that I could be here, and I make sure that I stay communicative with them and let them know what's happening, and they have also been supportive of this endeavor. So it's definitely something where I try to build a good network around myself to make sure that it's not just me needing to prop everything up on my own, and trying to be honest with the people in my life who it will affect the most.
I want to pull out what Arupa just said. I mean, I agree with a lot of that stuff. I have an amazing supportive partner who's also on our leadership team, so sometimes that helps because we're both dealing with it. Sometimes it hurts because we're both doing a lot of fraternity and we need time away from the fraternity. But I really want to like kind of pull out the like supportive people, because I have it both, you know, at work. Like I have a flexible-ish job. My work understands I'm pretty much my own boss at this point. So like that's great, and I have that benefit there. But like I also just have the support network of like the people in this room and the people not in this room, right? I think as national president, it's really hard. It's really easy to be national president. It's not easy. It's really disclaimer. It's really easy to like just say, "Oh, I'll take care of it. I'll take care of it." Like I get a lot of emails across my desk. So it's like, "I'll take care of it," and that. So it's really easy to do that. It makes it hard. There's the easy hard. So it's that reminder that I have to delegate things or ask for help, you know, across this room, across our national leadership team. So like, yeah, I mean, we've been seeing committee reports recently, and that's been really awesome because like, oh, they are doing this stuff and they're helping us with our work. So like, I guess at this level, which is one of the highest levels, if not the highest level of the fraternity of responsibility, there's a lot of just, you have to learn to lean on your team. And that's something like, I mean, I'm very thankful for you all as a team, but it's something I also still have to learn to do better. And so I think there's a lot of that, but I think also maybe going off what Arupa said, like accepting that we're not going to be perfect. I will always say, like, I love our motto, but I think our motto, strive for the highest, can be a little toxic because it sometimes pushes you towards perfection when it really should be pushing us towards progress, right? So, like, I know there's things I need to do better. I know there's things I will mess up this biennium, but I need to accept that kind of ebb and flow back and forth of how things will be. And then maybe on the soft tips or the, you know, hard tips of life, I will say, like, there are some very hard boundaries I have, right? You all as a council knows, but for the conversation, I don't meet on Saturdays. I would encourage that of our college students. You have band and then you have time to be a college student. Like, don't meet on Saturdays. I don't meet on Friday nights either. I probably meet at other times when I shouldn't meet, but that's generally the case. And then if I don't have a meeting on a school night, if you will, I make sure frat and all that stuff's done by 6 so we can do stuff like watch TV and whatnot. But yeah.
I have 2 young kids. I have a very supportive partner as well, who serves on the TBS side of things and is a counselor. So similar to you, Nick, you know, we're both in different places this weekend working on stuff, and so we have supportive friends outside of the organization who are helping us, and our kids are hanging out with them, and it's great. But like you, it's drawing those boundaries. You know, I get home from work, and then for me, it's time I'm with you. Or not with you, with my kids. And then once they go to bed, then it's time for meeting with Nick or calling somebody or checking this stuff. And so it's a couple hours every day where I try to protect that time to be present with my family when I'm there with them, when I'm not at work. And, you know, again, thankfully, my wife also has meetings at 8, 9 p.m. at night on a school night. And so we're like, you got a meeting? I got a meeting. Okay, I'll talk to you on Wednesday night after, you know. But it's important to have those people, but it also makes it easy because it's something you care about. Like at work, I was talking with my work colleague, but they're supportive of me doing this. And what rejuvenates you? What, you know, you pour a lot into your work professionally. Right. What gives you joy and brings you joy? And I'm like, the work I do with Kappa Psi, right? Yeah.
My work's tired of hearing about Kappa Psi.
And I work with people not within Kappa Psi or Tau Beta Sigma, but other people who are involved in different fraternities, and some D9s, and they understand the lifelong commitment and the giving back, and being involved, and so that's been really great to be able to talk about that with those people, and they support it, and so that's really cool to have that network of people who understand what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Yeah.
If I may just pull up one thing
may.
from yours, thank you. One thing from yours real quick. I think sometimes, like, I love this fraternity. My husband's in this fraternity, clearly I said it earlier. But, like, this fraternity has given me the best friends I've had in my life. And I know it's going to keep giving me friends, and, like, with you all, with others, I'm going to keep getting more deep and meaningful relationships. It's also important to have friends who aren't in the fraternity.
Yes.
Or for those of you who might get involved later, like, on a national level in life, like, it's important to maybe have your active friends who did not care about the district or national structure.
Yeah.
Because all those things are big blessings in my life. Especially, like, there's some friends who are so tolerant of me talking about Kappa Psi, like some who also work in nonprofit spaces, so like I can talk to them about what nonprofit life is and some of the things we do here. But I do want to say, like, I love this fraternity. My best friends have come from this fraternity, but also please make friends outside Kappa Psi.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, so I'm a symphonian, and part of me joining Phi Alpha was the idea of strive for the highest and how that applies to like, you know, myself and like fraternities overall and learning more. But the thing that I really loved about being in Phi Alpha was I felt like it was a place where I could just be in there and sit in the back of the room.
Yeah.
Because I accidentally find myself in the driver's seat a lot.
Yeah.
And in Phi Alpha was
Crazy.
We're not that happens, Jake.
yeah.
Did you say no much?
Accidentally.
No, I don't, yeah.
You
So-
submitted the application.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like, look, when I went to college, I was like, I'm gonna go to college. I'm just gonna focus on my degree. I'm not gonna like be super involved. Like, I might do KK Psi. I'm not gonna be drum major. 3 years of drum major later, and
That's right.
on the district council as a student, right?
That's right.
But Phi Alpha was that place where I had that hard boundary of I'm not going to be any position or anything. I just want to be here to support you guys, and you guys do all that stuff, and I get to just kind of get up, sit in the back.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that, and I'm very jealous of that experience. Because I look back at my college, I was like, what if I would have done that in an organization? It would have been very different.
Yeah, it was great. So, I mean, I kind of wondered too, like, were there times when you guys were active members where, like, you were putting Kappa Psi just, like, at the highest priority for longer than it maybe should have been?
Please do not put Kappa Psi the highest priority over your academics or the band program.
That's right.
First, but yes, absolutely. I think there was always a joke, and I actually did fine in the class, but I had this one class that was very boring called Process Controls and Design. Welcome to the License of Chemical Engineer. And it was about Laplace transforms and nerd stuff.
Yeah.
Casual
Yeah.
Laplace transforms, how they help you control processes. But one of my friends in chemical engineering, who was also in the marching band, he played the trombone. He was like, "Oh yes, welcome to the secretary's office," because I was Northeast District Secretary at the time. I was chapter president at the time, and I was just typing off emails, typing away, doing all this stuff. Like, it was my Kappa Psi working hour. I paid a lot to go out of state for college. Should not have done that, but it was. I mean, I have a PhD now. Life seemed to work out fine, but yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was hard. I mean, it's hard to say no. You want to do all the things. You want to be involved. So definitely times, leading up as a district president to convention, so definitely times I was putting Kappa Psi first, and it's probably one of the reasons. In one of my workshops, I'll ask people to, hey, what are the 10 things you spend the most time on this month, this week, 1 to 10. What are your priorities, 1 to 10?
Yeah.
And in that workshop, I talk about family and friends, your support network. That's 1. It's always going to come. That should always come first, right? The people you care about. 2 should be school. And then how do you rank 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? That's Kappa Psi could be 3. Maybe in moments it's 1, but if it lives there, how do you make sure that you're staying in balance with the other things that we've talked about? How do you make sure you have the right support networks, not burning yourself out, those things?
Yeah.
I did a leadership training for work professionally, so it was a management training. And they, at the end of the training, they gave us this pin and it had a button on it. But it reminds me of what you said, and the button had 4 holes in it. And I'm probably saying the word button weird, but it had 4 holes in it. And it's like, they asked us to draw that button of what it would look like for like our family, our life. I'm not going to remember all 4 holes, but our family, our life, our family, our work, our extracurriculars, and our own well-being. I think were the 4, and draw those holes proportionally. It's like, you can only fill up so much of that, right?
Yeah.
And so many of these things ebb and flow, but I do think, I guess there's a little bit of kind of burnout in the conversation here and the discussions about how we avoid it and talk through it. But I think that's kind of one of the big ones is you might find if you did a simple activity like that things are out of whack on your list, or wow, I'm giving so much here and this is where I need to pull back. Like simple thought activities like that are actually just great, and it kind of can help you. Because I still remember, like, I'm talking about a bunch of grown adults. I was 34 at the time. I was the youngest one in the class. And so like 34 all the way up to like 60, 70. And like there were people who that activity made them just burst out in tears. Yeah. So there was a 6-7 reference.
I think it also depends on like what might be happening in your chapter or in your band program or in your school at the time. Like when I was active, it was very young in our chapter's life, and we were experiencing some big struggles that could have had some really negative outcomes. And so yes, I was spending a lot of time on Kappa Kappa Psi, but we were trying to like pull ourselves up out of a bad situation and set the chapter on a better trajectory. And so, you know, if I was somewhere else, that equation would have been a lot different.
So I mean, thinking of this reflection stuff now, like, do you guys have your own systems in place for reflection at all? Or are you just like, we're going, and then when I'm done, and that's it?
It's certainly a work in progress.
Yeah.
You know, as duties change and workloads change, sometimes I don't have time, I feel like, for a lot of reflection. But for me, in this particular role, like I have my document full of my action items, right? And I split it up by month. And if I see that I'm like moving things from one month over to the next month a lot and things aren't getting checked off, I'm like, okay, something weird is happening. And I need to figure out how to get back up on this, how to manage things better. What is it that's been happening that's causing me to like half the things I was supposed to do last month, I'm now moving into this month. So just like a visual checklist kind of a situation for me has been helpful, because if I don't have something I can look at and feel kind of tangible about, I'm just not gonna do it.
Yeah.
Building off the systems, like my email inbox is very much, and you all know this on this call, this table. You all know this, but like my email inbox is my checklist.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same thing. Like I have some emails of stuff, and granted, being present and whatnot, there's some things you can't move fast that are more like serious ship, and there are some things that are quick responses. But when I start to see things that have been in my inbox for a while, it's that. But like I don't necessarily want to go after like that type of discussion there. As much as I want to talk about just building systems, right?
Yeah.
I know it might be somewhat of a neurospicy behavior, but for me, I very much have it's true. I very much have a almost rigid schedule. Like I said, my email inbox is one of the systems I do to have my task list to make sure I'm feeling accomplished and doing those things. And then I have a Mac. I have like a digital sticky note that I have, and I cross things off when I get them done. So like very similar systems to Arupa. But for me, like I wake up every morning at 4:20. I go to the gym, I work out, and my favorite thing about going to the gym in the morning is sometimes I will first off, I'll go up after a night's sleep, and if something's still bugging me after sleeping for a night, it's like, okay, that might be a little serious. And then something's bugging me after I've got my heart rate up way too high, then I will start to have that moment of like, okay, I need to actually address this, right? Mm-hmm. So for me, I've built systems in for my place of all that stuff to understand, you know, where I am and where I'm at. But I think this is also one of those things like, and I think we're all over the place as far as society goes, like you do have to take care of yourself first. And like taking care of yourself is not just mental health, it is a lot of physical health. And I say this as someone who's very insecure about their body shape and size, but like I take care of myself, you know, physically by going to the gym and all that stuff, and then by knowing my body, I can know when things need to actually be addressed. And I think that comes down to like when it's the stressful interactions and whatnot. Like if a night's sleep and a workout doesn't get me over like a situation that's stressing me out, that is the key to me of like I need to take another step here. And if it's multiple night sleeps and multiple workouts, it's real serious. So I think like you have to know yourself. I guess for all my other fellow gay people in the chat, whoever's watching this, like, you know, it's the RuPaul quote of like, if you can't love yourself, you can't love anybody else, or how the hell you're gonna love anybody else. Like, it's very much that you have to love yourself, but you also have to know yourself to have these systems in place.
Some of the stuff Nick was talking about is how to work through those moments where things are sticking on your mind. And so I'm worried I'm answering the question wrong, because I was thinking of it in a different way. Also, to start with that, one, I'm my own worst critic. That's why I'm on. I was like doubting my answer as I'm listening to people. I'm like, well, I'm wrong. This is gonna sound dumb, right? But to me, I mean, I'm a worst critic. I am so hard on myself in terms of second guessing kind of sometimes things that I'm doing and decisions I'm making. So for me, reflection is I'm thankful for the place I work, the boss I have, those things, because we build some of those things into what we have monthly check-ins at work. Our assistant soup comes into our building and we have these conversations about what's going on, and just always kind of making sure that I'm doing things with intentionality and purpose. But then I also drive pretty far to work, so I got a 40-minute drive. That's one way with no traffic. So sometimes it's closer to an hour. But for me, it works. It helps me decompress. And there's times it's weird, but something's bothering me, and I'll hit record on my phone, and I'll just start talking through things.
Yeah.
And then I'll like hear it back, and then I'll just kind of, it sounds crazy, but you kind of almost have like a round table with yourself, and you push back on different ideas, and you kind of help flush out ideas and try to get through and work through something on your own.
Yeah.
And so how do you monitor that? I can't always pick up the phone and call Nick and ask him his opinion, or you, or right? Like I can't do those things. So how do you create those spaces? I think that's really important to have a way to reflect intentionally about your practices and the decisions you're making. But I think sometimes reflection can be a slippery slope. Because sometimes it can lead to self-doubt. Yeah. And how do you balance that?
Yeah.
Right? How do you balance everything that comes out of my mouth is stupid, right? with no, I'm trying to make progress and change and grow and get better. Right. Be it in a class, performance, education, job, it doesn't matter, right? So I think it's important, and I think it goes back to like people around you. Like I'll be like, hey, I'll look at my wife and Jenny, I can I bounce this idea off you? Mm-hmm. Like I just someone else needs to hear my thinking on this, you know? Yeah. So it's important. It's hard though. Yeah. It's definitely a learned skill.
Well, I think the one thing I'll say is, especially, as you're talking out, like, and maybe this is a call to action for us at this table, even though I know we're being recorded, but like sometimes you do, especially when you get in that spiral, you need to pick up the phone at it, right? Sure. Like the four of you know at this table, but like about a month ago, I was struggling hard with some things, and I should have picked up the phone earlier and be like, hey guys, I need help. And you all were fantastic with that. But I think that's the thing. Like, first off, with you can pick up the phone and call me at those points. So call me more. But call me more, and then first say, the chapter's not in trouble. And then we can talk. Present VP of the relationship. Be like, there's no risk management issues. I just want to talk.
Fine. I
Great.
just need you.
But like, it's just some of those things, right? Like, I think you are right. I think reflection can be, like I called it a spiral. It can be that kind of spiral in there, but so maybe it's one of those things. We talked about support network earlier, be it our partners, our friends, our non-KSI friends, whatever it is. Like, you need to sometimes pick up that phone and grab your support network more often than I think a lot of us want to. Because I don't think any of us want to be a burden. It's the hard part.
I think the other thing though with reflection though, and maybe sometimes the harder part, is seeking out feedback. Mm-hmm. Because there's a lot of people who say, I want feedback, and then you give it to them, and they didn't want the feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's times where you don't want to become an echo chamber of your look. And so seeking out feedback and showing people that you actually care about it and want it is another great tool, but it can feel like an attack. Yeah. It can put you on the defensive. So again, having the people around you and building that confidence in yourself and your abilities to be able to take that, because it's a great way to learn to grow. I've fully believe it's one of the best ways to learn and grow is through feedback. I
do feel like in the chapter operations flow of things, the evaluation process often gets dropped. Yeah. Like you plan the service project, you do the service project, you move on.
You plan the next service project.
Right.
While you're doing the
building in that evaluative step is important and will help your brothers in the future, the next time you try and do that project and all of that. And so you do that both as a chapter and then like per project or area or idea, and then some of those like personal feedback.
And I want to uplift like what Nick's asking us to do, like even this working weekend, and we look at SOPs and standard, our operating procedures for how we do things, trying to take the things that we have learned and be able to consolidate it down into something that is a digestible, not a 45-page document, digestible here's the one thing I need to do. I don't need to read a 70-page manual on how to be, VPSA, right? So I think it's really cool that we are trying to digest those things into, here's a quick operating procedure if this is the action you want to do, because we do need to learn from each other. And something Nick told us earlier, we're going to start all these with version 1. Yeah. They're going to change, they're going to evolve, they're going to get better. But we got to start somewhere.
And the most important step to doing all of that is scheduling the time to do it.
Yeah.
Because it's always something that you want to do. You think that would be cool. But until we go, we're going to do this on Saturday during these times, here are the things that we're going to talk about. Like, you schedule in that time to make sure that it happens. Yeah.
I've really challenged myself to stop saying like I don't have time for that, and to say like I didn't make time for that. To just like really own it. Mark, I was thinking as you were talking about like recording yourself, I was like, well, that's a much more sane way of doing what I do, which is like I'll just sometimes when I'm driving in the car, I'll just do the voice mode on my Chat GPT, and I just talk to it. And I also have to be intentional about saying like I want you to like poke holes in this or challenge me or like tell me what I might be missing. I just find it interesting to do.
I'm a fan of AI. There's some people at the table who are not.
I have mixed feelings.
At the table?
It's very
at the table. But I haven't experimented with that, but it would be interesting to try.
Yeah, it's just casual.
I think just the one thing I want to, because you kind of toss back to something Mark said, and then so the best relationship advice I think I've ever got in my life came from the fraternity when we were doing strategic planning. What was it, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever it was. It was during Jess's biennium. It was down there at the station. No one can see that.
We'll just take over to the station.
Let's go. But I think when we think about feedback, like I think it is so powerful. And like I try to ask for feedback a lot, and like for our students, like we do change this. So we moved a bunch of our council meetings online, and we did it probably across too many things. And so we've had a conversation today to understand how we've consolidated, and we're going to change it next time. So like don't be afraid of change. But that's not what I was going to, because don't be afraid of change is not the best relationship advice I've ever got. But I think when it comes to feedback, like I think whenever we're in those conversations with people, and especially if you're afraid of feedback, one of the best ways to kind of give feedback is to ask the question, how do you want me to show up in this? Do you want me to show up as a cheerleader, or do you want me to show up as someone who's going to make action plans, right? Like I'll be honest, and like maybe as we're going to call each other more, like there'll be points where I was like, and I think you all are good at knowing it naturally, at least with me, but it's like, no, I need you to show up as a cheerleader versus no, I'm gonna like, I want you to challenge me, right? And I think like going to the AI thing, like I don't know AI prompts. I am one of the not so pro AI
I
people,
just talk.
but
I just talk. I'm like, hey chat, this is on my mind, and I also call my Chat GPT chat, and I'm just like, hey, I just kind of want to talk about this. Tell me your thoughts. Which AI can't think. That's important.
That's right. Again, feedback is important. Showing up in the way that others want us to show up, and like making the time to actually do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you guys journal at all?
I don't make time for that.
Look at that.
I will say, so right when it was last time NCD convention was in Funcy Muncie, Indiana.
Oh, they're going back there this year.
I know.
Yeah.
Or depending when this came out, they already went back.
I hope you had a great time.
Who knows when we're in Stillwater? Don't touch the hoodies and the jackets.
Or when you're watching.
Or whenever you're watching this, right? But I was in Indy for work beforehand. We do that a lot. We distract each other and ourselves. And I bought this like 1 line a day journal. And I did it for 2 years, and it was supposed to be for 5 years. And it was a really good way to get into it, and like was really reflective. I will say it was very cool to do it the year I became vice president, the year I got married, the year my husband turned 30 and ruptured his Achilles the day afterwards. ACL, not Achilles. But like it was really interesting to see that across the year and just have that reflection. So like I think that's a good way to get into it. But I still think I found journaling isn't the best for me. Like I used to teach yoga on the side, and I think being intentional with those moments and like creating a space to sit down and breathe has personally served me better than journaling has.
Yeah.
But journaling is like fun to like, and I actually would recommend those 1 line a day journals because not much of a lift. Like you can kind of put a thought down, and it was really cool to come back a year or two and be like, some things are cyclical based on the time of year. Crazy. I get really reflective around my birthday. Who would have thought it? But I think like for me, like the thing that I found works best is learning to breathe.
Yeah, honestly. The reason I ask is because I feel like the best change in my life over the last year, is last March I bought a bullet journal just on a whim. I was like, I've been thinking about this for a long time, and let me get it. And it was mainly just so I could keep like my to-do list in the same place because I feel like having it tactile is better than digital. But I'm still going to pay for my TikTok subscription because I know I want it, right?
Not sponsored.
Right, but maybe it could be cool. Depends when you're watching this. But like I started just by like, all right, here's my to-do list, and then it started turning into, well, here's my stuff I have to do over the week, and then it turned into, all right, well, here's my month thing. I'm just gonna write down everything I have on the calendar for the month, and then on the other page I write like, how do I want to have changed like when this month is over. And then I'll like write some goals, and then when the month is done, I go back and I write like what actually happened. And it was interesting at the end of the year because what I was saying was I wanted to be intentional about like preparing for the future, and in November I did not do that, and so in December I was like, okay. Knowing this, what can I do to make that more of a priority? And so I just started writing it on like every week plan was like, I'm going to be intentional about this. But the thing that's helped me with systems is learning that systems don't have to be the same and they can change. So my new system that I started in January was inspired by this YouTuber where he sort of did like the 1 line a day thing, but he was more doing habit tracking, and instead of it being like here's a good thing that happened this day, he just said like track a memorable moment, whatever that is, good or bad. And then if you want to, behind the habit tracking page, then that's where you do like the journaling stuff. And so I just like write the day, and I write the time that I do it, and I try to do it before work in the morning if I can. And I just write like a couple of lines. I envision like where will I be at the end of the day, and like what could that look like. And then I also write just 3 things I'm grateful for, which can be anything. Like one day I was like, I'm grateful for my optimism. I'm grateful for water. I'm grateful for
the cookie I had.
Honestly, yeah, I'm grateful for cookies. But I found so far for me, with it being only a few weeks into this year, that it shows me the places where like I am, that joy is happening, because it makes me think about it. You know, it's that quote, what gets measured gets managed, right? And so since I'm measuring the things that I'm grateful for and what I'm thinking about, I have a better grasp and better control over it.
And I think what you said is really important about sometimes a system works for a while and then it doesn't quite work well anymore, and you can figure something else out and move on. So I don't want anyone to think that you put a system in place and that's just the way it's got to be for the rest of your life. And unless it is, you're a failure. Like systems work, then they don't work, and you figure out something else and move on.
I think that's one of those things, I mean, some of this, I'm not going to get political here, but I think that's one of those things I like about our students, where we are in this moment and whatnot, is that we challenge systems, right?
Yeah.
I love challenging systems. I work in renewable energy. Like, I love doing it professionally, and I love that I'm able to do it in the fraternity space as well. So I agree with all that being said. Something I want to uplift, just general demeanor about UJP, is like, we were talking about intentionality earlier, right? And it's one of those things I love about our students, and we're not that far apart in age, but 6 years. For the record, you're kind of that, you are in the most student-facing position. You're the VPSA, and so like, you're talking about intentionality, which is very much a reflection of our fraternity as well. And I guess I'm just uplifting that, of like, I love how much you're talking about intentionality, because I think that's kind of the moment that we're in, is intentionality and challenging systems.
Yes, certainly.
Yes, very much so. Wrapping up here, we've been doing a lot of looking back and reflecting, but I wanted to provide a space for these wonderful people to talk about what we have to look forward to in the future. So take it away, guys.
Well, I will start with district convention season. I am so excited to get out there and be in person with folks all over the country. We're all going to be attending conventions in various configurations. There will probably be a couple that we attend all together, so excited for those. But we've got a lot of wonderful things planned. We're doing a lot of thinking about the important programming that we can help the districts put forth for everyone, and what we can do on our side to encourage participation and important development with our students. And so I'm so excited to see all of that come to fruition and just have a great time in person with everybody.
It's gonna be so cool.
I'm a real quick highlight of Arupa. Very excited for convention season. First time outside of the NCD for a convention.
Crazy.
Nice.
First one was supposed to be.
How long have you been a brother?
That's. We don't even talk about that.
So, that's not awesome though.
It'll be 19 years this semester.
Oh.
But it was supposed to be NED in March of 2020, and then that about a week, 2 weeks before,
Something big happened?
Yeah, something. So that didn't happen. But my first one outside the NCD was supposed to be the NED, and it will still be the NED because that will be the first one I am traveling.
It's also always the first convention, so
That helps. So, and you assigned me there.
Yeah.
I did.
So that's
I've
very
also
exciting.
banned you from the North Central because you haven't been to other districts yet.
That's fair.
That's
That's
right.
fair. I've been to quite a few of the North Central ones, so I'm very excited to learn from other brothers. I'm very excited to see other districts, other traditions, and just get into those environments and spaces. As we were talking about earlier, that's how you learn and grow. So that's great. In terms of things I'm excited for, new petitioning groups coming this semester. Always excited to share the passion of our brotherhood. Shout out to the people who have served as friend and advocates for our petition groups in the fall and the ones that are now in the spring. But very excited to be expanding the organization to new campuses. I think that's an amazing opportunity when we get to bring that environment to a new band program. So that's really exciting. Also highlighting some committee work. Our membership and chapter support committee is going running with things like the inner circle here and our chapter resources folder, and how are we getting those things into the hands of our chapters to be able to utilize all the time and energy that's put into those. And then we have our ritual book here, and we have the moratorium is going to be lifted at the 2027 NatCon. So the committee working to make sure we are prepared to have that discussion and recommendations of things and changes that could be coming in the ritual. So definitely some hot topics in there, but definitely things that are worth talking about and making sure that we're doing the best we can to be the organization that we are.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I guess being national president's interesting because you were talking about some of this stuff, and it's fun to steward all these things.
Yeah.
And you mentioned like the work that our committees are doing to get work to our actives. Like one of the things I'm most excited about is I feel like we've been shifting as an organization since our centennial to be very focused on our chapters, right? I mean, our chapters are the ones who do the work at Cap side. So making sure that our district conventions are these programming opportunities that build better brothers, better people, better leaders. I think that's been the tag of this working weekend. Like it's something that like I'm absolutely excited to seeing that we are leveraging all of our volunteer workforce, and they are a workforce in their own right, and we're so thankful to our volunteers and our committees to make sure that we're doing the best we can by our active students. Is the one of the things I'm most excited about. But as national president, like the job itself is a lot about stewardship. Stewarding the fraternity for 2 years from NatCon to NatCon. And so, oh my God, look at the posters behind us.
Oh, NatCon.
NatCon mentioned.
NatCon?
So I think, as I think about my time as president and the time remaining, like everything I think we're doing as a fraternity is building up together to have these beautiful arcs across the year, and these arcs which culminate in our biennial national convention. Our national convention, I think, is one of the best opportunities we have to come together kind of in our family reunion like our district conventions are, or like bringing new chapters into the fold are. But that national convention is the time to come together and highlight musicianship, right? Our National Intercollegiate Band, I'm absolutely excited about. Both our commission conductor, who is a former member of the Tau Beta Sigma National Council as well, big shout out, and our commission composer as well. Viet Quang's work was featured during this past NIB, and so I secretly knew he was the composer before anyone else did as national president. I was like, I'm so excited. So like that concert, and that's how we kick off our national convention, is just going to be awesome. I'm I'm really excited for that concert. But then kind of on the other side of this token is Kappa Psi last biennium launched the intercollegiate jazz band. I wanted to make sure I got that I right. But that intercollegiate jazz band. And I think that's just so powerful because it speaks so much to our values, right? We value uplifting music, but like I think when we uplift jazz, we're uplifting both American music and American music that's rooted in Black traditions and Black cultures and has really become part of, you know, our culture of music that we love so much. And I think it's just so important that we get to do it. But it's also like our most popular donation program, right?
Mm-hmm.
People are excited about this. The first one was electric, and I have no doubt under the leadership of Dr. Lake with support from others, and obviously Dr. Lake's not the conductor, Dr. Jefferson's going to be the conductor, but like it's going to be fire. I am not going to get caught anywhere near stage with Dr. Lake when he starts to do a stroke in this biennium, because I do not know how to do that. That or he's going to teach the whole council. But that's Tuesday night, and this is Wednesday night, and then Thursday night's going to be the last time we do this version of the ritual. Our ritual will not change much because it has not changed much in our 106-year existence, but we are going to have conversations on how we make sure that this is a ritual that reflects Kappa Psi and its values as an organization that promotes diversity, inclusivity, and accessibility, right? Like that is going to be a huge part of this convention, but it's also going to be this moment of like, yes, the words will change, the meanings won't, but like we will be having those discussions, and that's going to be that last performance on that Thursday night, which is like, I'm getting goosebumps right now talking about it, right? And I think some of y'all might not have thought about that beforehand, but it's on my noggin. And then Friday is going to be a day packed full of business. And it's going to culminate in our national elections and the transition to a new council. And we don't know who's going to run for that new council, who's going to be on that new council until the dust settles that Friday night. But that will be kind of where we go to. And I don't know, I think you can make arguments about changing out national presidents and leaders every 2 years is quick and very fast. But I think you can also make arguments that like it's really the beauty of our organization. I think Kappa Psi aims to build individual leaders who know how to be part of something bigger than themselves. So we build these strong individual leaders, better people, better brothers, better leaders. I keep changing the order of that. But we build these people who are rock solid individuals, but who are committed to servant leadership in something bigger than them. And that's why we have the peaceful transition of power every 2 years between, you know, presidents. Mark, God willing, will be the next president of this organization, which is terrifying him every time I've mentioned this this weekend. But we'll have that peaceful transfer of power, and it will represent the growth of our organization, right? So like, there's literally something. It's stressful to plan. Let me be very clear. It's stressful to plan, but it's going to be awesome. Like even the NIB, this is going to be the, I think, 60th or 80th anniversary of the NIB. It's going to be the 20th anniversary, 80th anniversary of the NIB. That's crazy. It's going to be the 20th anniversary of our alumni associations, which rebooted 20 years ago. Like, it is going to be something that's about brotherhood, musicianship, leadership, and service, and ultimately just celebration of Kappa Psi. And like, I got more passionate about this than I thought I would, right? Definitely got on that soapbox for a second, but like, I'm just excited to not only be at NatCon. I don't wish my life away, so I don't want NatCon to be tomorrow, but I'm excited for all the work that we will do together as a team of 4, that we will do together as a national leadership team of 50, that we will do together of an organization that will have 6,000-ish members every year, that will take us there. Because I truly believe that work changes the world. So I think it's just this beautiful story we get to tell every 2 years under a different national president on how we are building a better society by building better people. And so I'm excited for the National Convention to be that culmination, but I'm more excited about the people I get to do that work with as we lead up to it.
Yeah. So when and where is National Convention? Because you didn't say that.
Do we have the dates on here? Because I will mess them up. It's going to be July of 2027. I don't want to say a miscorrect date because the video was wrong the first time. But it's going to be July of 2027. Please check online. And it will be in Bethesda, Maryland. Really cool thing, these color schemes. Nick Smith designed the logos for this national convention. And Aaron Moore has updated a couple of things like the NIB with the branding and the colors, and same thing with the IJB. But Bethesda, Maryland's home to the National Institutes of Health, so this is actually their color scheme too. And I love this color scheme.
Yeah.
Going for Virginia Tech, I love maroon. Being a brother, I love blue, so this maroon and blue is very exciting for me. But also, Mark's just going to the NED for his first time, but it won't be his last time this biennium because we are in the Northeast District, which is my home district too. So I'm excited for that as well.
Yeah. So, active students, you guys are going to be a part of these conversations and a part of these things. And the way that you can do that is by showing up. And whenever it's time for the NIB, the IJB auditions, recording the videos and submitting them. I know that for the 2027 district convention cycle, we're going to be talking through the ritual changes at each of the district conventions and making sure that people are aware, so that way at national convention, we can have those discussions with the entire fraternity and do what's best for the fraternity and what you want to be. So we really want you to be a part of the NIB with Dr. Mitchell Spradlin and playing the new Viet Quang piece, or if you want to be in the intercollegiate jazz band with Dr. Joseph Jefferson, it's just going to be fantastic. We want to see you and just have a blast with you guys. So thank you guys so much for watching. It's been great, and we will see you next time. Adios.
Bye, friends.
I'm curious, like,
I want to know.
your
all the-
turn.
So, my bad.
I'm curious.